Hello, guys, and welcome back to the book summit titled Amplify Your Voice, Write Your Story or Tell Your Story, Make More Income, and this part, Get More Visibility. Today, I have with me none other than public relations strategist and the amazing Chenoa. Now, I'm going to give you a bit about this amazing woman who actually one of my clients introduced me to. She's a public relations strategist with over, guess this, 25 years experience. She doesn't look 25 herself, so I'm going to have to question that in a moment. Over the years, her clients have appeared in magazines, newspapers, TV, and radio across the globe. Her passion is turning social entrepreneurs into game changing PR magnets. I love that. Shanoa now focuses her time on sharing her knowledge and expertise, helping individuals to get featured in the media so that they can share their story. I love this, attract new clients, and position themselves as experts. And that essentially in my book is called Amplify Your Voice, Tell Your Story, Make More Money, Bankroll Your Brilliance, and Be Visible. Welcome to the summit. It's so good to have you.
Oh, thank you, Ava. What an amazing intro. I love that. I think I'll turn up to this more often, eh? How are you? Thank you.
I'm good. I'm even better for having you on this morning.
Yeah.
I literally got up this morning and it was crazy. I had 10 o'clock. I went to bed really late, and our mutual friend Dr. Michelle rang me and woke me up a minute to 10. I had a client at 10 o'clock. I literally, luckily it was a phone call. I rolled over, turned my phone on, called the client, ran downstairs, made breakfast, and I was like, I've got to get ready for Chenoa because I really believe that what you have to share is fundamentally so important. I know I introduced you, but tell the listeners and viewers who you are in your own words and kind of like what you be, I call it.
Okay. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, well, I am a PR consultant. It's basically just a fancy way of saying that I help people share their message, share their story with the world. And the area that I focus on is around press coverage. So if you're
Mm,
looking to get into newspapers, into magazines, podcasts, as well as appearing on guest blogs as well. And that can, like you say, amplify your message and your story. And particularly for authors, that is the best way to get really visible, and get people interested in your book as well as your story. You might notice a little bit of an accent. I live in Liverpool now, but I'm originally from Louisiana, and I have been here for about 26 years. Um,
wow.
so it kind of shows my age, but
It
I
doesn't
spent
show your age on your face, girl. Like, let's no, no joke, guys. And for those of you who watch the podcast, you'll see this. It is not showing on her face. Like, she doesn't look 25, and that's not no BS. That's just keeping it real.
I
It must be
adore
the
it.
Liverpool water.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. Thanks, Ava. So yeah, and that whole time I have been working with people just to share their message. So I've got a hell of a lot of experiences in this area, and things have changed over the years. I used to work in fax machines and sending out press releases, and now it's all around digital media, or what some people still call new media, which is like
Mm.
online publications, online newspapers, which has become so important recently because everybody's reading online. Social media is where it's at, and online articles, online news, online media is through the roof. And what you want to do as an author or anybody trying to share their story is get in those articles and get in those websites as well. So
Ah,
yeah,
thank you for that. So essentially, guys, she's saying she gets you seen. Like she
yeah,
gets you seen. And when let's talk about new authors because I work with a lot of new authors who and I still consider myself new. I think you're always new because there's somebody else who knows more than you, right? So for those budding authors who just either they're in the middle of writing their first book, thinking about writing their first book, or have written their first book, I always say to my clients, the PR doesn't start when you send the book to print, right? Talk me through that because some of them are not hearing me because they're so used to listening to me and they think, oh, don't listen to Ava. But tell me how important it is to not just get PR, but get it at the right time and get it early.
exactly. You have got to be thinking ahead. I'm working with an author at the moment who is looking to publish in November. So we're already getting her story out there. I'm in contact with magazines, particularly because they're working months in advance. And what you want to do is be on their radar. So don't wait until you finish the book. You need to be thinking ahead how you're going to share your story. And it's not just about appearing on the scene and going, ta-da, I've got this book.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. It's about sharing the essence of your story from that book and getting people interested in wanting to read more. So yeah, you need to be thinking PR every single day. How am I going to get visible? Where am I going to appear? And who do I want to talk to? And get people interested and kind of tease them, I guess, into
Mm.
wanting more about your story and
Like
go,
a romance.
wow,
It's like a romance, right?
exactly.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. You can't just show up on the first date and go, let's get it on, right? You got
Yeah.
to romance. And the same thing with any kind of author trying to get their story out. Think now, where do I want to be seen? Where do I want to be in Psychology's magazine? Do I want to be in Forbes? Think ahead. Think about what that journey looks like so that when your book is ready to go and you're ready to sell, that you've got people and a tribe looking and waiting and wanting more and wanting you and wanting to buy your book, which is the key,
Mm.
right?
I love that. I normally tell my authors that you are the first piece of PR because here's what happens, Chenoa. They make your job so much easier when you go out there and you start talking about yourself, start putting things out there because you're building a roadmap, you're building visibility. So when a publicist comes in, it is so much easier to do that. And many authors believe that I just write a book, I slap it on Amazon, and I become rich. Well, if that was the case, I'd be a millionaire a long time ago, and clients would not need to come to anybody, and all the clients you have will be trillionaires. Isn't that correct?
Exactly, exactly. PR is not an afterthought. You got to get out there, or else, like you say, people think they're just going to come banging on my door for my book. That ain't how it works. I wish it did, but it ain't that easy.
Wow, I love that. Now, Shanoa, let me ask you a question because I know that a lot of authors are going to be listening to this, and non-authors are people who have ideas and are thinking that I want to write. Tell me, because I say to people every day, we all have something to tell. We all have something to share. We all have one nugget that would be valuable to somebody else. Tell me some of the persons that you're finding, or some of the stories that you find that the press tends to grab quicker, or I don't know if that even exists, but does it?
Yeah, there's tried and tested themes and stories that journalists look for. Overcoming adversity is a big one. So if you have somehow overcome adversity in your life, if that's what your story is around, they love that.
They would
Rags to
love me then,
riches.
right? That's right up my street.
Exactly. Absolutely. They love you because you've got the essence of that story that people want to know, that you've come through that journey, and that they want to know that they can do it. They're kind of living their life through you. Also, things like rags to riches tale. So if you've grown up on the a council estate, or come from a poor background,
Hmm.
and now how you're a successful person, again, something that the press absolutely love. But there will be elements to your story, maybe the way that if you've had a breakdown in a marriage, or if you've any kind of emotional strong stories, or even quirky stories that are unexpected. Think about the kinds of stories that you like to read, and basically that's what journalists wants to know. It's that human interest story that everybody wants to read about.
I have a friend who's from the Sun newspaper. I mean,
Mm.
actually, a journalist who wrote about me some years ago, and she reached out to me in COVID because I think COVID makes all of us reflect. And she was like, "How are you?" And we're talking, and she said, "We're looking for stories that are positive. We're looking for stories that are non-COVID." And so, a lot of authors, I'm saying to them, now is the time for your story to shine because for the next 5 years, we're all not going to want to talk about COVID all the time. What would you say to authors who are thinking, well, now is not a good time to get any press on my book. Now is not a good time because there's so much COVID going on.
Well, I tell you what, since the beginning of COVID, the first couple of weeks, I thought, oh my goodness, everything, all that the journalists wanted was stories about COVID. It had completely changed PR overnight. But in the last 2 weeks, all of my contacts, exactly what you saying, Ava, they've been on the phone, they've been emailing me, desperate for people's stories. They say, give me something positive, and we are happy to plug books.
Mm.
So, and that is only going to continue because our appetite for COVID, sure, we're still reading articles and
But
news
it's
and we
too
want to keep ahead.
consuming.
It's too consuming now. People want a bright, they want hope and they want inspiration and they want strong stories of positivity
And
and
resiliency, right?
resilience. And that will only get stronger and stronger as we move through this. Yeah.
Wow, I love that because I really think that the mindset, especially of persons who have never been published, is to think that, well, I'm not known, nobody knows me. So this, and I think it's a good time to pivot, and it's a good time to start thinking, you know what? And I think COVID's created opportunity for new authors, in my opinion. It's a
Yeah.
good time for new authors to think, you know what, it's a good time for me. I've gotten into a magazine and that's going to come out in the summer. And I know that if COVID didn't happen, like my products would never get there. We've talked about this, right? I think we've talked about this. My products would not, and I'm going to be real. So right now you're the underdog, but it's okay. Take advantage of it because life's created an opportunity for you. And I believe that there are some stories now that will get the press that will just blossom and just become this domino effect and just flourish because COVID happened. And so people need to really think and hear us when we say this. For those of us who are just tuning in, we're literally talking with Chenoa, who's a public relations strategist for over 25 years. Like, that is like a long time, okay? So she has tons of experience. And I know I'm not just sitting here talking to her. Everybody on the summit, somebody I know personally in one way or the other. Shino has worked on a client of mine, Dr. Michelle McDowell, who most of you know, and she's getting her into some magazines, she's getting her press. And Dr. Michelle and I talk, and she said, Ava, she's really good. And I've watched Dr. Michelle move from this really shy psychologist and literally now become. I was on an interview with her yesterday, and they call her almost like she's this PR machine now. You know, she's this magnet. And Shanoa did that. She created into this her persona into this magnet. So it's not just sitting there talking to her and say, oh, well, on paper she has this experience. It is actually seeing the fruit of that labor. Now, Shanoa, tell me now, what's the process of people actually, if I say I had a book, I'm a new author, and I wanted to come to you, what are some of the things, without giving away too much, that
Mm-hmm.
you would be telling me to have in place? Because I tell my clients all the time to have certain elements in place, right? I say to them, you need to have a press kit, and they're like, oh, that, and but tell me, because I tell them these things. I
Yeah.
really say, you need a website, you need presence, you need a press, because I need to prepare them so when they come to you, they are sellable, if there's such a word. Talk to me about that piece.
Exactly. Yeah. Your press kit, because people get so flustered about this, they go, oh, what is it? Essentially, it's about three things. First and foremost, you need a bio. So you need a sellable bio, something that tells the press in a couple of sentences who you are. I tend to say have a short one and have a long one. So you
Can I
want to
just
talk about,
dissect as you go along? Can
sure.
I just pause there? Only because I don't want to lose this point. I have had clients, even yesterday, who say, I was teaching about having a blurb, right? And the blurb on the book, at the back of the book, and the pieces of a blurb, the opening, the closing, the cliffhanger, and I'm writing about the author as well. And she says, "But I'm nobody." Talk to me about the clients who say, "I'm not Stephen King." I know the answer, but I know you know too. I'm not Steve. I'm not even Dr. Ava Brown. I've done nothing. I'm nobody. What goes on my bio?
First of all, you need to think about exactly what you're doing, what your story is in one sentence. And everybody has a story. I know a lot, I work with a lot of people who go, nobody's going to be interested in me. Everybody has a story, and you are looking to create and share your story with the world. So there must be a reason behind it. What is the reason for sharing? You need to summarize that in a statement. You also need to touch on some of the elements about your story, about your journey, and like you say, you need to then end in a cliffhanger or a sort of what's coming up next so that people are interested in what you're doing next. So it's essentially three parts at most. And you can do that in a short way, and you can do that in a longer version as well.
I'm gonna come back to that because you're listing some of the things that we need to have. I love that because I say to my clients all the time, when you're writing a book, understand the why and your target audience. I tell them, like, and they're like, well, we're not doing a marketing course. Sorry, but it's important to understand who are you aiming at so that when we come to you, those elements are so much easier to pick up. I'm so glad the dots are connecting, because some people think, oh my God, they come to write a book, just tell me how to write it. And I'm like, no, we have to start with your why. Why are you writing it in the first place? Is it for fun? Is it a hobby? Is it to tell a story? Is it to build a business? Because when they come to you, you're going to ask them the same thing. What are you trying to achieve with this piece of PR, right?
Exactly. Because PR with no understanding of your why and where you're going is a waste of time and money. So you need to know exactly what your goal is, and there will be different ways that you then approach PR and where you get mentioned depending on what you're trying to achieve. So
Mm.
focusing on your why in business and why you're writing it is extremely important, as your
I
audiences as well.
love that. Oh my God, I love that. Guys, did you hear that? Your why, the angle, those things that I talk about in my book training, my free training, and even when I coach you are so important. Now, we touched on something earlier. We're talking about when they come to you, then to have, the press kit, the website, and those elements. I know a number. I've seen it and I used to be it. Okay. A number of authors who think, oh, Google is out there. I can Google everything and I can get free press. And you're right. To an extent, you get certain free press. But I know at the core, journalists only want to mostly talk to people they know and have credibility and relationship with. Talk to me about that piece, Chenoa, because so many authors are thinking, well, they don't want to spend on their book, they don't want to spend on their cover, they don't want to spend on their editing, and they certainly want to spend on PR. And they wonder, why is it not succeeding?
You can waste so much time, Ava. You'll know this. You can waste so much time on free stuff.
Mm.
I mean, how much time have you wasted before you think I can just do this myself? When somebody, a publicist like myself, a PR person like myself, we got those connections, we can introduce you, we can almost shorthand it or give you the hacks and those shortcuts to actually make it very successful. Or otherwise, you're going to, time is money. Girl, you know time is money. I know time is money. So if you're going to waste a lot of time on free stuff, you just want to come to somebody like myself or like you, Ava, who has been there, done that, and we can get you there much, much quicker and shorter amount of time.
I love that. And you know what, Chenoa? I actually prove that. So nowadays, I just employed a somebody to handle my social my IG, my Instagram handle for the Mango Girl products, because it's not, first of all, it's not my specialization. I don't know how to do it. I go on a stage, I speak, I motivate, I empower. Give me that. We have to know what our skill sets are. And I realize you can't be the CFO, the PR, the everything in your business, because nothing's gonna work. Right?
That's a guaranteed way of getting nothing done, right? When you're
Yeah.
trying to do everything.
So I'm so free now, and I'm going to use the example as if it were PR, by having my social media strategies just focus on the Mango Girl product. I only go to Instagram and just look at what she's doing, check that things are okay, and move my eyes to somewhere else and focus my energy on growing other things, because she's there doing that. And that's what happened, guys, when you get somebody like Chenoa to come and say, you know, Chenoa, let me just dump all my PR to you. This is my story. This is what I want to achieve. And go and craft your message somewhere else. Go and invest in learning how to speak, so that when the PR meets you, you can, when the press meets you, you can speak. Go and invest in, your branding and how you look and your presentation. But don't waste time. Don't sweat the things that's not your stuff. That's why we have division of labor. And that's why we have experts like Chenoa, who spent 25 years on growing in this field. Oh my God, I love this. Chenoa, tell us, I know that you and I are sitting down looking at how can we, for a longer term, look at how can we work with new authors when they come. And that's something we're going to talk about later on, in the whole process of when we get to the masterclass. Because I want to bring you in as a resource, so that when I work with authors, we can put a package together, so that when they know that when they come to get their book done, they don't have to worry. So you and I will work with them, and then they're not just going to just write, but they're going to be seen, heard, and literally and bankroll their business. Because what I find out about press is that once one paper gets something, and they read each other's stuff, don't they? They pretend like they don't, but they do. So when A gets it and it's a juicy source, like, oh my God, we need to get from another angle, and it just become a ricochet effect. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, it's a knock on effect. It's like a waterfall. As soon as you turn that tap on and you start getting press, other PRP, sorry, other journalists see it, other papers see it. You will see this. It gets magnified, it gets amplified. And just one example: recently, I'm working with a client, and we got them a three pages, I think it was, in Psychology's magazine. Well, that was then seen by the BBC and then ITV, because they're all kind of reading everybody's stuff just to get ideas of their own. They might take a different approach, which they probably will, but it certainly has a knock-on effect. As soon as you get
Mm.
one, you're going to get a number of them, and then you're going to look like that PR machine that we all want to be. Go, they're everywhere. Look at them.
I love that. Now, oh God, guys, thank you so much. So we're talking to Chenoa, who is actually a publicist, and we're looking at amplifying your voice, telling your story. And telling your story here is not just, oh my God, my horrible story. It could be a book about how to cope with COVID, how to cope with the stress of COVID. The how to books qualify because right now in this space, people they want what's the word I'm thinking about, results, and they want escapism, and they want ways of coping, and they want to be learned, they want to be taught resilience, and they want to be told hope. They want hope. They want to think that we're going to come out the other side. So if you're sitting there thinking, during COVID time I did this to cope, during COVID time this worked for my family, during COVID this is how I got through this is the time to pencil that book. And also, you know, let me say this, a lot of people have found themselves furloughed, and some of them redundancies have happened, and a book could be a great platform to start
Mm.
something else.
Exactly. Yeah, I know a lot of people that are starting to write books, and they see that as a platform to get to the next step, because they've been freed up, and they've always dreamed of doing it. So follow your dreams. You know, this is the perfect opportunity to do that.
I was talking to Denise Benz, who actually has worked with Lisa Nichols. And I want you guys, I really want to connect you guys because I think there's a beautiful relationship there. She's one of the speakers on the summit. She's worked with Tony Robbins. She actually crafted Lisa Nichols' message. And and I'm just so proud that she's my really good friend. I'm thinking, girl, you got to have to just come and craft me properly. I'm like, Denise, you have to come and chisel me because I need some chiseling. But she was saying her clients include clients like Kim Coles. You know, Kim Coles is, yes, she does the celebrities, and we were on an interview yesterday that's going to out to about 2 million people, and she was saying that there are some platforms, NBC, Fox, that will not take you without a book. And I'm sure similarly in the UK, what I find is that there are certain opportunities that will not open for you if you're not seen as that expert in your field. Just briefly touch on that for me, and then we're going to kind of wind this down a bit.
Definitely. That having a book is an amazing way to get your message out there. And I am seeing more and more the UK press as well starting to say, I want somebody that's written a book, because that is the way to position yourself as an expert. It's given you that credibility that
Mm,
you want and deserve. And it's ideal for getting you noticed as well. So yes, but even the UK press are starting to move towards that. So
I
got to
love
write a
that.
book.
Thank you for that. The last point I want to touch on this, somebody in the press told me that whenever they have people come across who have books, they go and look for reviews online on Amazon. Is that true?
Yeah, they do. Oh yeah. And journalists look everywhere. They're good scouts, you know. So yeah, they'll be looking at all of that.
Wow. Guys, there's some juicy, juicy sauce that was just dropped. Like while she was dropping them, I was picking them up. I don't know about you guys as you listen to this. I want you to pause it, take notes, and then continue to play. Because there was so much that was said here. The last bit you heard that journalists are going to check out your book if you have a book online. So I always stress that you must get reviews. Swallow, chase, run, creep. Get your reviews. It's so important because people are going to look for reviews. When people say to me, Ava, I've got a book, the first thing I do is to go to Amazon and Goodreads, right? Get yourself on Goodreads. Get yourself set up online so that when you come to a PR person like Chenoa, and I'd recommend Chenoa, that you are ready. That I can't make you good as a book writer if you don't come to me with a story. When you go to Chenoa, you are actually making her job easier to help you. When you have your press kit in place, which is something that we keep talking about, your website, when you have certain elements pulled together, a bio. I tell my even my budding authors or authors who are thinking, I tell everybody to have a bio. I think a bio is something we all should have. And one way to craft that is to grab pieces of your resume and start chiseling down on that. But that's something that you also help people to work on, I'm sure, in your service. Now, guys, there's so much that's been dropped there for you. And I put this together for almost, nothing for most of you guys, and you guys must take it seriously. It is now the time to pivot. It's now the time to realize that stories are going to bankroll your brilliance. And so, tell me what you have, if anything at all, to offer the persons who are listening, who are thinking, okay, you know what? I don't want to wait for you and her Ava to do this collaborative work. I want to talk to you now. What is there that you have to offer them?
Oh, I've got so many different things, Ava. I've got a free Facebook group. People are more than happy to join, and I drop little tips and hints in there. You can also follow me on Chenoa Parr PR, which is a Facebook group, and message me. And I do a 30-minute sort of free session just to get to know who you are and to give you hints and tips as well. So yeah, I'm everywhere.
I love it. I love the fact that all of the speakers have just dropped some freebies inside here. Guys, all the notes are going to be following this. So you're going to get all her details, all her Facebook and stuff are going to be together here. And you can Google her and find her as well. And I really want to encourage you to pick this up. And here's the thing, as we said at the very start, you don't wait for the book to be ready to start getting PR. And even if you're listening to this and you're not thinking of writing a book and you're in a business or you're thinking of a business, now is the time to get some PR. So I do encourage you to go and follow and make contact. Guys, take advantage of this 30 minutes. You never know, it could change your life. And what I realized when you talk to publicists like Chenoa is that sometimes some things that you're not thinking about, because you're in the jam jar, you can't see the label, they're able to show you. So please take that up. Chenoa, I'm so glad and thrilled that you joined us here this morning on this amazing book summit. Thank you so much. And any last words that you want to leave for?
I just want to say a big thank you. And guys, when it comes to PR, get your story out there. People are hungry for it. There's loads of places you can really boost your profile by sharing it with newspapers and magazines. So just do it. And thank you, Ava, for having me.
It's
I've
my
really
pleasure.
enjoyed
And I
it.
want to add to that by saying, guys, I started with my book. Jennifer Lopez said, I started from the bottom. Ava says, I started with my book. And so join me for the next speaker on Amplify Your Voice, Tell Your Story, Make More Money, Get More Income, and get today's guest more visibility. I'm your host, Dr. Ava Eagle Brown, and I see you on the next one. God bless you. Walk good. And remember, stories free, they heal, and they literally help others fly.